guys could tell, I am in the process of removing the stock exhaust and putting on the brand new that's a 14. I have to remove the right side to get access to that bolt down there that's holding it. So as you see, I'm just slightly zip tying the rear set to this right here just to get it out of the way. Now obviously I have enough room for that, so that's all I did. I don't know if others have had to remove the rear set, but I had to get it out of the way. If you're using a socket, you probably have to get it out of the way. If you're just using kind of your wrench, you may not need to. I have been prepping for this day for a while now, and so I am glad that I finally get to do it, but it is not easy getting up in her. That is for shizzles. So these header bolts are pretty loose now. I can pretty much just hand tighten and hand loosen them. That tool was a lot easier to break it. Hopefully you're able to see what it is I'm doing, but I'm basically just removing all these bolts, these nuts back here for the headers. So the headers are loose now. There's just one more bolt back here. I've got sandbags underneath the exhaust to keep it from falling completely on the ground. So I'm removing this last bolt right here, this one right there. This is the last mounting bolt. There it goes. As you can see, the entire exhaust moved. Just removing one of the sandbags here. There it goes. Woo! Yes, sir. Oh, try not to damage stuff. Here, you behemoth. There it goes. There's the old one.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
All right, what's going on, everybody? It's been about 2 days or so since I've completed the install of the Yoshi exhaust system onto the bike. The reason why I didn't finish recording the rest of the install was I ran into so many problems, unexpected problems, that I had to just stop recording, and I had to just really concentrate on getting the work done. A little bit of a backstory: the exhaust arrived around like 10:30ish. Started working on the bike pretty soon right after well, I started doing some prep work before that, and then the exhaust arrived. And then I started doing parts of the recording, as you saw in kind of the first section of it. But then, like I said, I just started running into problems with install instructions. I started running into problems with getting the old stuff off, the bolts removed, and stuff of that nature. So, man, it was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. It really was. And being it my first time too, so that's probably part of it. It was me just kind of tinkering with it and learning as I go. And so that's what took me such a long time and really got me frustrated with the install of the exhaust. I love it. It sounds great. It does need a flash. It does need to be tuned though, so I'll probably end up doing that later. But as of right now, it runs great. I've double checked everything a few times, just to make sure all the nuts and bolts and all the header nuts and are tightened up and not coming loose and stuff like that. So everything seems to be working okay. I ran the bike a couple of times, a few hours, a couple of times. No check engine lights, no weird error codes that are coming up that I'm seeing. Nothing's flashing on the display to check something. And so, yeah, it was great. The install portion of it, there was a lot of stuff that had to. The instructions were good, but it was probably my fault not like really kind of understanding what they were saying in the instructions. Perhaps the main problem I had was a little small bracket on the back end of the actual muffler itself, where it attaches to the back of the oil pan. There are 2 screws back there, and there's a mount that they have, and I, for the world of me, could not figure out how they wanted it to align. So I had to put the system, everything except for the exhaust portion of it. I had to put everything together just to see where it was going to line up on the oil tank, and so I had to do it that way, and it took me forever, and I got so frustrated with that. But everything is good now. Everything's buttoned up, and I'm sorry that I couldn't get the actual install process, but like I said, at that point I was already pretty much like 4 hours into the install, because I was tinkering with it. I was trying to figure out what went where. I was trying to figure out what to take off and what not to take off. And I took a few breaks in between there because I just needed to step away. Frustration level was high. Just trying to get things lined up and put in correctly, and make sure I don't lose screws, make sure I don't misplace stuff, especially when putting the system back on. I did do what a lot of people said, which is tighten from the back to the front. So I did do that portion of it and make sure everything lined up correctly. Obviously, I can't check for air leaks. I don't have a tool to check for air leaks. So if that's something that happens, I guess we can kind of figure that out down the road. But so far, again, I am totally in love with this system right now. It's subtle and yet beastly at the same time. I don't know how to describe it, but when I'm running around in idle, or I'm running around in like high gears, 4th, 5th, and 6th, it's essentially almost as close to stock as I can get. It's not overly powerful that it's so I can't ride the bike on cruising speed, but as soon as you hit that downshift and the RPM starts to jump, you really notice the exhaust come to life, and the bike really comes to life, and that sound is really, really intoxicating. So I really love it. Yoshi, great job with the redesign as well. Let me just show you guys here real quick if you don't know. So if you can see that pipe, this pipe here was redesigned. It was on the first generation. I'm gonna call it first generation. This pipe right here was straight, and so this exhaust, this can here, was a little bit more protruding, I believe. And from what I've heard is that if you got enough angle, this would scrape. I think it was the can itself that would scrape. Not sure about the piping scraping, but I think that the can itself would scrape. So they did do a revision on the exhaust system itself, and so that is awesome now. But I am really enjoying the exhaust now. Like I said earlier, once I get it flashed, it should be a lot better, a lot smoother in regards to the throttling and stuff like that. But yeah, that has been my install of the Yoshi AT2 system. And yeah, I waited a year for this exhaust, so I'm really, really excited. I'm really happy to be able to bring that to you guys as well. So I'm really excited about the addition of the exhaust. It really does bring the CP3 to life. So I'm going to go enjoy some more bike riding and some more noise in my ear. See you guys on the next one. Peace out.